Several years ago, the AARP Public Policy Institute published a report on the topic of aging in place. Their research found that 90% of people over age 65 want to stay in their home for as long as possible. And 80% believe their current residence is where they will always live. They also found that while seniors say they want to stay in their homes, many lack the ability to do so on their own. For older adults to age in place, their physical environment and the services around them must accommodate their limitations. Seniors Helping Seniors is an in-home senior care agency whose mission is to bridge that gap, enabling seniors to maintain the dignity of aging in their own homes. We're delighted to have Ken Kozelski from Seniors Helping Seniors, Central Florida, with us today to tell us more about their role in helping seniors age in place. And Ken, thanks so much for being with us. And you're right, I think that is the number one thing is if it's whether ourselves or maybe we have a parent or grandparent, they love being able to stay at home. So how did you start this program and what are the reasons behind it?
Carol, thank you so much for inviting me to be with you today. So for a number of years, I served as Vice President of Customer Experience at Orlando Health. And probably the most important thing I learned in that role is that when you're inside the four walls of a care setting, a formal care setting like a hospital, a doctor's office, a lab, you can pretty much count on a quality, consistent experience. It's going to be safe. It's been painstakingly designed to lead to a favorable healthcare outcome. But that's not where you spend 99% of your time. You spend 99% of your time somewhere else. Seniors spend their time at home, out with their friends, at a restaurant, at a place of worship, and they're making decisions. Decisions, some of them are healthy, some of them are unhealthy. And that's where health outcomes are determined. The future of healthcare and impacting the health of seniors is not going to be in a facility or an institution. It's going to be in the home. And so I felt called to be in that space. I used to call it the spaces in between. And now it's my full-time job, so it's just a blessing to have it.
That is wonderful. And, coming back around to that, you have volunteers now, senior volunteers, right?
They're actually employed.
Okay,
Yeah.
that then will go to a home. Someone will contact your agency and say, whether it's for themselves or their spouse, a loved one, a parent or grandparent, and do they kind of go in and assess the situation, see what's needed? How's that all done?
So we are licensed by AHCA. That's the state of Florida's Agency for Healthcare Administration. And as part of our license obligation, every care relationship must start with a home assessment. And I do a lot of them. Other people on my team go out and do the home assessment. And the goal is to have every loved one who participates in the care of this individual involved in the creation of a care plan. And we actually all sign a piece of paper that says, we participated in this together. So that's how the relationship starts. But what's really special is the moment, I call it the light bulb moment, when the name of a caregiver comes into my head or whoever's conducting this assessment of the perfect caregiver. One example, we have a client who has stage 4 cancer. She's on hospice. Her husband called us because he's the full-time caregiver at home. He needs a break, right? And so I introduced a caregiver, and about a month into the relationship, my caregiver had a family emergency, and I had to introduce a substitute. So I always do a warm introduction, so I warm introduced this substitute, and the husband pulls me aside and says, I hope you're bringing Elizabeth back. I said, tell me more. And he said, Elizabeth speaks German. My wife speaks German, and she holds her hand, and they speak German to each other, and that's really special.
That is wonderful. It's that one-on-one, and I'm sure your folks get as much out of that opportunity to serve and help the person in need as well.
Yes.
It's really a two-way conversation here.
When I was driving in this morning, I was on the phone with one of my caregivers who has a relationship with her client built around cooking. So this client and her husband, the client has recently gone blind. They're from India. And when I was looking for that light bulb moment to match them with a caregiver, they said, well, we're only vegetarian and we only eat Indian food. I thought, oh, gee, I don't have a caregiver from India. But then it turns out that the client, who has recently gone blind, loves to teach cooking. And so I do have a vegetarian caregiver that I've matched. Her name is Maria, and they have a wonderful relationship. Maria is learning how to cook from my client, and the client loves to teach, and it keeps her active. We don't want to provide services in a way that allows our clients just to lay in bed. We want to keep them active and safe and bring back the joy in life, because they're at a stage in life where there can be a lot of joy.
And that really makes all the difference in the world. And obviously, we're going to have some information on the screen how folks can get in touch with you if they're interested in, whether they need your services or they're interested in helping with them. So Ken, thanks so much for being here, because we really hope seniors explore all the options available to them to stay in their homes and age the way they want to and where they want to. Thanks again.